Hey everybody, I just finished another book in the Bone Chiller series. This is Killer Clown of Kings County. I just realized that this actually said clown instead of clowns. I thought this was more than one clown in the title. But yeah, there's only one, and that makes sense. In my review for Instagram, I kind of low-key made a fool of myself. But yeah, anyway, this is one of the more rare books in the series. This is probably the rarest book I have in my whole collection, honestly. But I was lucky enough to find a copy of this book, and from a good friend over on Instagram. His name's 90s Kids Library. Yeah, he gave me a good deal on this book, and yeah, I'm very blessed to have it. But as far as the book itself, I'm here to give you guys some good news if you can't find this book, and if you're just after books just to read for the joy of reading. This was not a fun book to read. This book was 150 pages, and it felt like it took me forever to read it. Probably one of the longer Bone Chillers books, and nothing happens. There's really nothing scary that happens. But yeah, I'll get into that more in the review, but yeah, definitely one of the weaker ones in the series. But yeah, I'll start with the plot. The story starts off with this guy named Zeke Simpson. He is at a birthday party. It's his birthday party. And his mom is calling him to come downstairs, and he doesn't want to because his mom bought a clown to come and do some tricks and all this stuff or whatever. And he's a little too old for clowns. He's like 12 years old. But he eventually goes down, and he sees two of his friends named Joanna and Eddie. And they're kind of his friends, kind of not. They're more like frenemies. And he knows that he's going to get made fun of at school and all this stuff for having a clown at his birthday party. And shortly after, he runs into the clown that's there named Idris Zanzibar McFlute. I had to think about it because that is a crazy name. But yeah, basically the clown comes in there and he starts talking like he knows these kids very well. Like he knows their names without them asking. And different things like that. He does a couple of tricks for him, he does this thing where he pulls a hat on top of his head and puts something else on the hat or something under the hat, But anyway, Zeke is fascinated with these tricks that this clown does. Eddie, not so much. Eddie thinks this guy is creepy and things like that. Joanna says something under her breath about clowns being lame, and Mr. McFlute or whatever hears her say this, and he walks up to Zeke and he says something really cringy, like he's gonna turn her into the handkerchief dork or something. It's really stupid. But anyway, after this happens, he basically invites these kids to clown college, which to teach them how to become a clown, because Zeke really enjoys his tricks and stuff like that. So he gives them the address to go to this clown college thing. And yeah, basically what happens next is they go to this address, they don't see him, and he just pops up out of nowhere, and he gives them these books. Each one of them gets a book that's called the Great Clown Handbook and things like that. And he gives each person an article of something off of him. He gives Zeke the hat, he gives Eddie the nose. I don't remember what he gives Joanna. I think he gives her the flower thing or their gloves or something like that. And yeah. Basically what happens next is before Eddie actually does this, Eddie actually points out, which is actually kind of a creepy story, about this clown from a long time ago that actually basically kidnaps kids and they go missing and all this stuff that his brother told him about. But yeah, and Eddie's kind of very skeptical about all this. But anyway, they get all their stuff, all these articles of clothing and hats and stuff. And what happens next is they start turning into clowns. Eddie gets his nose stuck on him. The Joanna lady gets her handkerchiefs stuck in her mouth. It's kind of a cool, gross scene, I guess. And yeah, they start getting their face turning white, just basically looking like a clown. And that's 70 pages. Austin over at Monster Blood did a review on this, and he basically said this book was just them turning into clowns. And I kind of looked at the skeptical side of things. I was like, maybe there's more to it. And at first, I kind of thought there would be, but no, this is literally what he said. This is just these kids turning into clowns. And that's it. They get red hair, starts growing. I don't know. If I had to compare this book to any book in the original Goosebumps series, this is Chicken, but clowns. And somehow, some way, it's less interesting than them turning into chickens, which is very bad, very ridiculous. There's not like a lot of clown stuff in here. Like it's kind of stupid. Um, Eddie gets this like buzzer thing stuck to his hand, like when you shake your hand, it shocks you and stuff. And the handkerchief girl has this like little thing that squirts water, and it goes off every so often. There's things like that, but that's about it. Nothing crazy, nothing really unique or different or anything. This could have been any kind of monster. It could have been werewolves. It didn't matter. Yeah, yeah. The positives on this book. I would say that the actual writing itself wasn't bad. It just wasn't very engaging. It was really good. Like the writing was better than some of the Bone Chillers books, but just nothing happens. It's just boring. The Idris guy is kind of interesting for a little bit, but I knew going in that we don't learn anything about him, which is kind of a spoiler on my part. But I did kind of put like some skepticism on the side. Maybe we'll learn something, but we do not. Yeah. So and the only other thing that I could think of that would be like a positive is there is a scene where this Idris guy comes in to the house and straight up kidnaps the kids and puts them in a limousine and drives off with them, which is very, very disturbing. This came out in the 90s. Stranger danger was like a big thing. And yeah, that was actually pretty scary. But the one thing, again, this is clowns. It's not hard to make some clown stuff in a clown book. He drove a limousine. Okay, he's a clown. Get him in a small car. It's clowns. But anyway, I digress. This book was just really bad. I don't know if it's the worst in the Bone Chiller series, but it is very, very close, if it isn't. So that's good news for anybody that can't find this book and that just wants to read the good ones. You can skip this one. Trust me, there is nobody out there that I think that's really going to like this. On Goodreads, there's a guy that gave this 5 stars, but I don't think he meant it. I think he was drinking or something. I don't know. But yeah. Killer Clown of Kings County, which I always thought was Killer Clowns of Kings County. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars because I did think there was a little bit of interest with like Idris and, learning why he's doing this. We don't learn why he's doing this. And that's another thing too. In Chicken, they get turned into chickens because they are very rude to this witch and don't have manners. This book kind of touches on that, but not much. Like they don't even do a lot that's like considered rude or anything. It's just he just turns them into clowns because he can. And one thing that might be my fault, there's a scene towards the end with this box that like if you fall in, you get turned in, like you turn into a clown, and if you like fall in and you're not a clown, you stay in there or something like that. I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense. And they mentioned it before, like that this happened. And I honestly didn't remember this happening at the beginning of the book. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention. It just flew over my head or what. But yeah. I did think the way that the end of the book, like there's like a climax point that was okay. That it was okay. Like it had like a little bit of okay, that's a good way to do this or whatever. But yeah, I don't want to give away too much. But yeah, Killer Clown of Kings County, 2 out of 5 stars for me. I'd honestly say it's barely a 2 out of 5 stars. I don't remember what I gave that Blowtorch book, but this or Blowtorch is the worst of the series. And the more I think about it, maybe this is worse than Blowtorch. I'm not sure. this is going to be a hard ranking of books to do whenever I finally finish them all, God willing. But yeah, 2 out of 5 stars from me, guys. Please let me know in the comments below if you've read this book. What did you think about it? I'm very blessed to have this book, so thank you, 90s Kid Library, if you're watching this or you happen to be seeing this. Very blessed to have it. Really appreciate it. But yeah, this book sucks. 2 out of 5 stars from me, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.